Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens feared it, the ultimate human ghost in the thunder. The massive alien ship hung in space like a dark cloud. Lieutenant Jack Reynolds stared at it through the viewport of the small Earth shuttle. His heart beat fast but his face stayed calm. After all, he was a soldier trained to hide fear. "We're cleared to dock, Lieutenant," said the pilot. "Remember, you're just security. No talking unless spoken to." Jack nodded. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Void-born Confederacy, an alliance of 7 alien species that ruled most of this part of the galaxy. 3 months ago, their ships had appeared near Jupiter. Since then, Earth's leaders had been desperate to make friends. The shuttle slipped into a glowing blue opening on the side of the alien ship. Jack felt his stomach twist as artificial gravity pulled at him. The shuttle settled with a soft bump. "Showtime," whispered his commander. The Earth delegation stepped out into a vast room with high ceilings. Strange symbols covered the walls. The air smelled like metal and something sweet Jack couldn't name. 5 aliens waited for them, tall beings with gray-blue skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were large and completely black. Jack stood back watching as Earth's ambassador stepped forward. His job was to guard the delegation, not to talk, but something felt wrong. The aliens' politeness seemed fake, their translator devices made their voices sound flat and cold. "Humans, we welcome you to the glory of the Confederacy," said the tallest alien. "I am High Commander Drell. We look forward to a profitable relationship." Jack noticed how the alien emphasized the word profitable. He didn't like it. The meeting dragged on for hours. The aliens spoke of trade deals, cultural exchange, and peaceful cooperation. They offered to help Earth with advanced technology. All they wanted in return were mining rights on a few uninhabited planets in the solar system. When the Earth delegation moved to a dining area for a meal, Jack noticed a side corridor with no guards. His training told him to stay put, but his curiosity was stronger. While everyone was distracted by strange alien food, he slipped away. The corridor was dimly lit with pulsing blue lights. Jack moved quietly, years of military training making his steps silent. He passed several doors with alien symbols until he reached one that was slightly open. Inside, he could hear voices speaking through translation devices. "The humans are even more primitive than our scans showed," said one voice. "Their defenses are laughable. Their planet is rich in resources," said another. "And their population will provide excellent labor for the deep mines." Jack's blood turned cold. He moved closer to the gap in the door and saw 3 aliens looking at a holographic display of Earth. "Their water alone makes them valuable," said the first alien. "We'll begin extraction within 3 cycles once they've signed the agreements." "What about resistance?" asked the third alien. "They seem proud despite their weakness. Like all the others, they'll be crushed if they resist. Their extinction would be a minor loss." Jack had heard enough. He started to back away when his elbow hit something on the wall. A soft alarm began to sound. "Intruder," called one of the aliens. Jack ran, his mind racing faster than his feet. The aliens weren't coming in peace, they were planning to take over Earth, maybe enslave humanity. He had to get this information back home. He turned a corner and found himself in a hangar filled with small ships. Behind him, he heard the heavy footsteps of alien security. Without thinking, he jumped into the nearest scout ship. It was similar to the training simulators he'd used. Pilots, it seemed, fought alike across the galaxy. The controls responded to his touch. The ship hummed to life, its systems lighting up around him. The hangar doors were closed, but the scout ship had weapons. Jack fired, blasting a hole in the metal doors, and then shot forward into space. Alarms blared throughout the alien mothership. Jack pushed the stolen ship to full speed, heading toward Mars, Earth's nearest colony and home to its largest military base. He had to warn them. His communication panel lit up. The face of High Commander Drell appeared on the screen. "Human, you have committed an act of war," said the alien. "Return immediately or face destruction." Jack cut the transmission. Behind him, 3 alien fighters launched from the mothership. They were faster than his stolen scout, and they were gaining. He pushed the ship harder, diving toward Mars' atmosphere. The ship shook as enemy fire grazed its shields. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Jack's hands flew over the controls, using every trick he knew. Mars grew larger in his view screen. If he could just reach the colony. A direct hit rocked the ship. Systems failed across the board. Jack fought for control as the ship entered Mars' atmosphere, turning into a fireball. Through the flames, he saw the alien fighters pull back, unwilling to follow him into the atmosphere. The ground rushed up to meet him. Jack braced for impact as the ship plowed into the red Martian soil, skidding for nearly a mile before coming to rest in a cloud of dust. Pain shot through his body. Blood trickled down his face, but he was alive. He dragged himself from the wreckage, looking up at the sky where the alien ships had been. They were gone, but he knew they would return. His communication device was broken. The nearest human outpost was 50 miles away, and now he realized with growing horror, he was a fugitive. The aliens would tell Earth's leaders that he had stolen their ship, that he had fired on them. They would make him the villain. Jack Reynolds, once a respected lieutenant, was now a traitor in the eyes of his own people. But he knew the truth, and somehow he had to make others see it too. In the distance, he saw dust clouds rising. Vehicles were coming, Earth forces from the Mars colony. But were they coming to help him or to capture him? Jack looked at the crashed alien ship. There might be evidence inside, proof of what he heard. He turned back toward the wreckage, determined to find something before his own people arrived to arrest him. The fate of Earth might depend on what he could salvage from this crash, and time was running out. Jack limped away from the crashed alien ship. His side hurt with each step. The dust clouds in the distance grew larger. Earth forces were coming fast. He had grabbed what he could from the wreck, a small alien data device that might contain proof of their plans. A sudden noise made him turn. Part of the crashed ship had opened, revealing a hidden compartment. Jack approached carefully, weapon ready. Inside was not an alien but equipment, strange technology he didn't recognize. "Might be useful," he muttered, grabbing a small device that looked important. Then he heard the vehicles. They were close now. Jack had 2 choices, surrender or run. If he surrendered, no one would believe him. The aliens would make sure of that. Running meant becoming a true traitor, but at least he'd have a chance to prove what he knew. He ran. The red landscape of Mars stretched before him. Jack knew these plains well. He had trained here for 3 years. There was an old mining tunnel 2 miles east. If he could reach it. The sound of engines grew louder. Jack dove behind a large rock just as the first vehicle appeared, a military rover with Earth Defense Force markings. 4 more followed. They surrounded the crash site, soldiers pouring out with weapons ready. "Lieutenant Reynolds," a voice called through a speaker. "This is Captain Wilson. You are ordered to surrender immediately." Jack stayed hidden. From his position, he could hear their communications. "The aliens want him alive," said Wilson to his team. "They're claiming he stole classified technology after attacking their diplomatic team." "Why would Reynolds do that, sir?" asked another soldier. "Who knows? Maybe he's one of those anti-alien fanatics. Fan out and find him." Jack slipped away while they searched the wreckage. The mining tunnel was his only hope now. He moved quickly despite his injuries, staying low and using the rocky terrain as cover. After an hour of careful movement, he reached the entrance, a dark hole in the side of a small hill. It hadn't been used in years. Jack slipped inside, the darkness swallowing him. He activated the small light on his uniform and moved deeper into the tunnel. According to old maps, these tunnels connected to an abandoned research facility. Maybe he could find supplies there, or a working communication system to contact someone who would listen. The tunnel seemed to go on forever. Jack's injuries slowed him down, and his light was growing dim. Just when he thought he might have to turn back, the tunnel widened into a large cavern. But it wasn't abandoned. Lights glowed from installation panels. Equipment hummed softly. This was no mining facility, it was a secret base, and it was active. "Don't move," said a woman's voice from the shadows. "Hands where I can see them." Jack froze, raising his hands slowly. "I'm Lieutenant Jack Reynolds, Earth Defense Force." "We know exactly who you are, Lieutenant." A woman stepped into view, pointing a weapon at him. She was about 40 with short gray hair and the sharp eyes of a scientist. "The question is, why are you here when every soldier on Mars is looking for you?" "I found out something about the aliens," Jack said. "Something bad. They're not here for peace. They want to strip mine Earth and use humans for labor. I heard them talking about it." The woman studied him for a long moment. "I'm Dr. Anna Miller, and unfortunately, Lieutenant, we already suspected as much." She lowered her weapon and gestured for him to follow. They passed through a security door into a large laboratory filled with complex equipment and screens showing data Jack didn't understand. "What is this place?" he asked. "A black site," said Anna. "Officially, it doesn't exist. We're working on a project called Thunder Protocol, a last resort defense system. A dozen scientists worked at various stations." They looked up as Jack entered, their faces showing surprise and concern. "Dar. Miller," said one of them, "bringing him here violates every security protocol." "He's being hunted by the Confederacy, Tom," she replied. "That's good enough for me." She turned to Jack. "Show me what you took from the alien ship." Jack handed over the data device and a strange piece of technology. The scientists gathered around, their expressions changing from suspicion to excitement. "This is Confederacy quantum storage," said one, holding up the data device. "It could tell us more about their technology than we've learned in 3 months of study." "And this," said Anna, examining the other piece, "looks like part of their phase shift drive, the missing piece we needed." She looked at Jack with new respect. "You may have just saved the project, Lieutenant." Jack winced as pain shot through his side. "Happy to help, but I could use a doctor." Anna called for a medic, then led Jack to a chair while his wounds were treated. She explained the Thunder Protocol. The Confederacy ships use an advanced form of stealth technology. They can phase slightly out of normal space, becoming nearly undetectable. We've been trying to replicate it to create our own stealth ships. On a large screen, she showed him footage of a small experimental craft that seemed to flicker in and out of visibility. "The problem," she continued, "is neural integration. The pilot has to mentally connect with the ship's systems to control the phase shifting. We've had casualties." "What kind of casualties?" Jack asked. Anna's face darkened. "Mental deterioration. Physical changes. Some pilots reported seeing things that weren't there. Others became disconnected from reality. 3 died when their molecular structure began breaking down." "So it doesn't work," Jack said. "It works," Anna corrected him. "Too well, in fact. The ship and pilot begin existing partially in normal space and partially in what we call void space. We just can't control it properly." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the facility. One of the scientists ran to a monitoring station. "They found us," he shouted. "Confederacy ships are directly overhead, and Earth forces are approaching from the south." "How?" demanded Anna. This facility is shielded. They must be tracking the alien technology, said another scientist, pointing at the items Jack had brought. Anna turned to Jack, her face grim. We have maybe 20 minutes before they breach the facility. Not enough time to evacuate or hide research. She paused, then asked, how badly do you want to stop them, Lieutenant? Jack understood immediately. You want me to pilot your experimental ship? The prototype is ready, she said. With the component you brought, we might be able to stabilize the phase shifting. But I won't lie to you, the chances of survival are low. Outside, they could hear the sounds of ships landing. Time was running out. Jack thought of Earth, of what would happen if the Confederacy succeeded in their plans. He thought of the billions of lives at stake. I'll do it, he said. But if I survive, I want your word you'll help me expose the truth about the aliens. Anna nodded solemnly. If you survive this, Lieutenant Reynolds, I'll help you do whatever you want. She gestured toward a sealed door. The Thunder awaits its pilot. As the facility shook with the first explosions, Jack followed her toward what might be his salvation or his doom. The sealed door opened with a hiss. Inside was a chamber unlike anything Jack had ever seen. In the center sat a small spacecraft, sleek and dark, with strange blue lines running across its surface. It didn't look like any human or alien ship he knew. This is the Thunder, said Anna, leading him toward it. Around them, the facility shook as explosions hit somewhere above. We don't have much time. Scientists rushed around, making final adjustments. One approached Jack with what looked like a thin metal suit. Put this on, he said. It's a neural interface suit. It will help you connect with the ship. As Jack changed, Anna explained quickly. The ship doesn't have traditional controls. You'll control it with your mind through the neural link. The suit helps translate your thoughts into commands. Jack slipped into the suit. It felt cold against his skin but quickly warmed up, almost like it was alive. What about weapons? He asked. The Thunder has some defensive capabilities, Anna replied. But its main advantage is stealth. If the phase shift works, you'll be practically invisible. You can move through solid objects, including other ships. Another explosion, closer this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. They're getting closer, said one of the scientists. Maybe 10 minutes before breach. Anna led Jack to the ship. The top opened smoothly, revealing a single seat surrounded by strange technology. There were no visible controls, just smooth surfaces with the same blue lines as the outside. Once inside, the neural link will activate automatically, Anna said. It might feel strange. Try to stay calm and focused. Jack climbed in. The seat adjusted to his body, and the top closed over him. For a moment, he sat in darkness, then the blue lines lit up around him, and he felt a tingling sensation across his skin where the suit touched him. A voice spoke directly into his mind. Neural interface initializing. Welcome, pilot. Jack's heart raced. This was beyond any technology he'd ever experienced. The aliens and Earth forces are almost here, Anna's voice came through a speaker. We're going to launch you through the emergency tunnel. Once clear, activate the phase shift. Good luck, Lieutenant. The chamber around the ship opened, revealing a long tunnel sloping upward. Launch in 10 seconds, said a computerized voice. Jack took a deep breath. I'm ready. The countdown finished, and the ship shot forward with incredible speed. Jack felt pressed back into his seat as the Thunder raced through the tunnel. Ahead, he could see a circle of red Martian sky. Exiting tunnel in 3, 2, 1. The Thunder burst out onto the surface of Mars. Immediately, Jack saw them, 3 large Confederacy ships hovering above and several Earth vessels surrounding the area. Alarms blared in his mind as targeting systems locked onto the Thunder. Phase shift now. Anna's voice urged through the calm. Jack wasn't sure how to do it, but the neural link responded to his thought. He pictured the ship becoming transparent, slipping between reality and somewhere else. Pain shot through his skull. The blue lines on the ship pulsed rapidly. Jack screamed as it felt like his body was being torn apart at the molecular level. "Something's wrong," he heard Anna shout over the comm. "The integration is too deep. Jack, your vital signs are..." Her voice cut off. The world around Jack seemed to stretch and distort. He could see the alien ships firing at him, but the energy blasts moved in slow motion. His vision split, one part still seeing the world normally, another part seeing strange patterns of energy and new colors he couldn't name. Then everything went black. Jack opened his eyes to darkness. No, not complete darkness. He could see the blue lines now running through what seemed to be his own body. He looked at his hands and saw they were semi-transparent, glowing slightly with the same blue energy. "What happened to me?" he whispered. To his surprise, the ship answered in his mind. "Neural integration complete. Pilot and vessel are now one entity." Jack realized with shock that he could feel the ship as if it were his own body. Its sensors were his eyes and ears, its hull his skin. But he was still himself too, somehow existing in both states. He focused, and his perception expanded. He was in space now, above Mars. The alien ships were searching, their energy beams sweeping the area, but they couldn't see him. Jack moved simply by thinking about it. The thunder responded instantly, shooting forward at incredible speed. There was no sensation of acceleration, it was like thinking about moving your arm and having it move. "I need to check on the facility," he thought, and immediately the ship changed direction, heading back toward Mars. What he saw filled him with dread. The secret base had been completely destroyed. Earth forces and aliens were working together, taking away equipment and arresting the scientists. Jack spotted Anna being led to an Earth transport ship, her hands bound. Anger surged through him, and with it came a new sensation. The blue energy lines pulsed brighter. Jack felt himself becoming less solid, more like pure energy. On instinct, he directed the thunder toward the transport ship. As he approached, something amazing happened. The thunder passed through the transport's hull like it wasn't there. Jack found himself inside the ship, still connected to the thunder but able to move through it like a ghost. The Earth soldiers couldn't see him, but they felt something, a cold presence that made them shiver. Jack moved through the ship until he found Anna in a holding cell. She looked up, sensing something. "Jack," she whispered. Jack concentrated, trying to make himself visible. The blue energy condensed, forming a ghostly image of his human form. Anna gasped. "What happened to you?" "I don't know," Jack's voice sounded strange, echoing slightly. "The integration worked, but not the way you expected. I've become something else." "The Thunder Protocol was never meant to go this far," Anna said, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. "You fully merged with the void space technology. You're partially in our dimension and partially in another." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the transport ship. "They've detected energy fluctuations," Anna said urgently. "You need to go now." "I'm not leaving you," Jack insisted. "You have to. You're the proof of what the aliens are planning. If they capture you, they'll either destroy you or, worse, learn how to replicate what you've become." She stood up, reaching toward his ghostly form. "I'll be okay. Find a way to save Earth." "That's an order, Lieutenant." Jack hesitated, then nodded. "I'll come back for you. I promise." He concentrated again, feeling himself reintegrate with the thunder. The ship phased through the transport's hull and back into open space. As he accelerated away from Mars, Jack realized he was now something the universe had never seen before, not fully human, not fully machine, but a ghost that existed between dimensions. A weapon that even the mighty Confederacy would learn to fear. The stars stretched before him as he pushed the thunder to speeds that should have been impossible. Somewhere out there was Earth, unaware of the danger it faced. And now its only hope was a ghost born of thunder. For 3 weeks, Jack haunted the edges of the solar system. The thunder had become more than a ship, it was part of him now. He learned to control his new abilities, phasing in and out of normal space at will. Sometimes he was solid, sometimes just a ghost of blue energy. During this time, the Confederacy ships began to appear everywhere around Earth. They called it a peaceful partnership, but Jack knew better. He watched as they set up mining operations on the moon, bringing massive ships to haul away resources. "I need to do something," he said to himself, his voice echoing in the empty ship. But what? He couldn't attack the entire alien fleet alone. He needed information, a weakness to exploit. And he needed allies. Jack decided to strike at a smaller target first, an alien communication relay near Saturn. Using the Thunder's phase shift ability, he slipped past the station's defenses unseen. Inside, he downloaded their communication records before sabotaging the main systems. As alarms blared, he slipped away, leaving confused aliens wondering what had happened. The information was valuable. Jack learned that the Confederacy was already building large mining facilities across the solar system. They planned to begin operations on Earth itself within months. Worse, they discussed processing centers for humans who would work in the mines. But there was something else in the data, reports of a high-ranking Confederacy admiral coming to oversee the Earth operation. Admiral Thorne, commander of the Void Fleet and hero of a dozen campaigns against other species. If I could expose him, show humans what he's really planning, Jack thought. Before he could plan further, the Thunder's sensors detected a signal, a small Earth ship hiding in the rings of Saturn. It was sending out a coded message, one that wasn't going to Earth command. Jack moved closer, curious. Using the Thunder's advanced systems, he decoded the transmission. Still no sign of the Thunder Ghost. Military denies its existence, but Confederacy forces are on high alert. We need to find it before they do. Miller believes Reynolds is still alive. Jack's heart jumped at the mention of Anna's name. This was a resistance group. He carefully approached the ship, keeping the Thunder partially phased to avoid detection. Then, taking a risk, he sent them a short message on their own frequency. "This is the Thunder Ghost. I want to talk." The response was immediate panic. The small ship powered up its engines, ready to flee. Jack phased the Thunder directly in their path and made himself visible, a ghostly blue figure against the blackness of space. "I'm Lieutenant Jack Reynolds," he said. "And I'm on your side." After tense negotiations, the Resistance members, a pilot named Mark and a communications expert named Lisa, agreed to meet. Jack boarded their ship, maintaining his semi-solid form. They were terrified at first, but also fascinated. "Dr. Miller said you transformed," Lisa said, "but this is incredible." "Is Anna okay?" Jack asked. Mark nodded. "They interrogated her but couldn't prove anything about the Thunder Protocol. She's under house arrest on the Mars colony but still working with us secretly." Jack explained what he discovered about the Confederacy's plans. In return, they shared their information. A small resistance had formed among those who suspected the aliens' true intentions, but they were few, and Earth's governments were firmly under alien influence.